Welcome back to Unit 6 of Block 2. And in this minute, we are going to understand rural marketing research. All of you might be very familiar with research word, but let's explore what exactly it is. The learning outcomes from this units are we will understand the importance of marketing research for rural market. We will again describe in detail rural marketing research process, the techniques of doing rural marketing research. We will analyze the role of a researcher in rural marketing research. We will again understand the problems in conducting marketing research in rural India. And the last outcome is the best research method to ensure the success of your rural marketing strategy. Okay, so what is rural marketing research? Rural markets in India are highly diverse and scattered across the regions. Rural marketing research is essential to understand consumer needs, preferences, and behaviors. It helps the marketer to design strategies that suit rural condition and overcome the barriers. All of you know what is research. Re plus search. By applying some techniques of research, you are understanding the customer needs, what customer prefer to have, and how do they behave towards the purchase decision of the particular product or services. We also understand that rural market is vast in number because the statistics we understood in last units. It is scattered in appearance and diverse in nature. Some people may look for product for their basic needs. Some may look for the product for their a different category of needs because they are now augmenting from the basic need to the luxurious need or the service needs of them. So if you are not doing research, being a company or being a marketer, how will you understand what exactly these market buyers are looking for? What is their preferences? What is their needs? So to understand these things, a company or a marketer need to do rural marketing research. It identifies the needs of the rural consumers, bridges the information gap between marketers and the rural buyers, what product you are selling them, what exactly they are looking for. This gap is usually bridged by this research. It reduces the risk in decision making, guides to protect design, pricing, and promotion. So, by doing a rural research before introducing your product or selling your product is a vital step for the marketers because they can understand the needs of the customers, their aspirations, their requirement, their exact characteristics of the product they can design as per the need of the customers. So, these are the importance of rural marketing research. But there are many challenges are associated with it. Like we know, the rural market is attached to less literacy rate, or they are not aware of the product features. Poor infrastructure and communication barriers, scattered population and cultural diversity. Last unit also we discussed about the hook of cultural diversity in rural market. They will purchase or they are purchasing products as per their requirement of cultural celebration, and they are highly guided by this cultural culture aspect being a influential factor for their purchase decisions. Conducting research in rural areas is more challenging compared to urban markets because urban people are more informed about the market, about the new product, or about the brands. But in rural India, we all know about the poor infrastructure, language diversity, and cultural diversity. Researchers need culturally sensitive and cost effective methods to do this research in rural India. The role of rural marketing research. The primary role of rural marketing research is to understand consumer behavior, especially consumer buying behavior. And it helps in evaluating the effectiveness of the promotional campaign. Suppose you have promoted your product through different campaigns, let it be through hoardings, let it be through demonstration, let it be through the influencers, but you are in a mood to evaluate what is the effectiveness of this promotional campaign. You can also do the research, or you can also take the feedback of the rural buyers in a research format. The third objective of doing rural marketing research is to assess the distribution network and sales performance. How far the distribution network is efficient in distributing product or in helping the marketer to reach to the customer, and how far the sales performance is going on. You can also know through the process of rural marketing research. It also helps in long-term rural marketing plans. Suppose this year you are planning for a research in a particular village or a particular area, so that it is going to help you to get the inputs for the next year planning or next product designing planning, marketing strategy planning, because you are having all the feedback from the buyers of that particular area in terms of their preferences and choices. So the role of rural marketing research goes beyond consumer analysis. It helps to measure the effectiveness of the promotional campaign, the distribution effectiveness, and product performance. This also helps farm or companies to make informed decision and plan long-term rural marketing strategies. Okay, as you know, this is the importance of rural marketing research. If, let's say a small example, before buying a product, you are doing a kind of research also. As we understand last to last unit, before buying, a consumer is collecting information, evaluating information, then validating the information with the influencers or the person they have trust on their opinions. So consumer is also doing a kind of small research before buying a product. So also the product company who is investing a lot amount on this promotional campaigns, on designing the product or designing the strategies for marketing, he has to do a marketing research to understand the needs, the preferences, the choices, and the buying pattern of the buyers. So this is the importance of conducting a rural marketing research before strategizing your innovativeness or strategies for rural marketing buying process. So what is rural marketing research process? How you are going to do this? You need to understand the research process. You just understood the importance of doing marketing research at rural belt. Now let's understand how to do this process. It's a systematic steps for collecting, analyzing and interpreting data. First, you are going to collect the data in a systematic manner. Then you are going to analyze this data. Then you are going to do the interpretation of the data. We will discuss in length later in this unit. Helps to understand rural consumer behavior and market opportunities. If you are doing a rural marketing research process, it will definitely help you in understanding rural consumers' buying behavior and what are the opportunities available in market. It ensures effective decision making in rural marketing. The rural marketing research process follows a series of systematic steps like to study consumer behavior, consumer product preferences, consumer buying pattern through data collection. It helps to help identify how the market opportunities are available in rural belt and how effective is the decision making of the buyers in rural marketing. Let's understand the stages of MR process, that is marketing research process. These are the steps in doing a marketing research process. It starts with defining the problem, then statement of research objectives, planning a research design, planning a sample, collecting the data, analyzing the data, formulating conclusion, and preparing and presenting the report. These are the steps. First step is problem or need identification. Why you are doing the research? What is the purpose of doing a research? You are the marketer. Think it like this. You are the marketer or you are the person of ITC company. You are in charge of introducing a new product. Let it be a shower show. Your company has instructed you to introduce this product in a particular rural belt. So before introducing the product in the rural belt of your location or of your zone, you are identifying the problem of these local buyers and why they are looking or why they will purchase the product from you. That is the first step of market research and it is known as problem or need identification. How you are going to do this? The first step is to identify the research problem. Research problem in case of bias is their need or the need identification. Why they need a shower show in a rural belt like this where they are used to use some traditional things to apply on their body while taking their showers. A vague or wrongly defined problem leads to ineffective research. You need to be very careful about this. Research is a Research is a long duration process. It requires efforts from you, efforts from your company. It also requires cost to make this process happen in the rural belt. So a wrongly defined problem may create problem for you in the long term if you're doing a rural marketing research. What is wrongly defined problem? You need to address the exact need of the customers or the consumers of your locality, of your area, so that you can develop a product to meet with their expectation. In rural markets, problems could relate to low brand awareness. They are not very aware of different kind of brands. The problem may arise due to distribution issues, due to poor infrastructure or cultural barriers. For example, a company may want to know why its product has poor adoption in village despite high demand potential. This might be a problem. Even if you understand your product has a high demand potential in rural market, let's say it's a solar lantern. You understand that there is power cut happening in rural belt. People are looking for sustainable product. People are looking for durable product. But your product has all the characteristics, but they are not adapting it. This can be a possible research problem, so that you can do the next steps to understand where is the root cause of this problem, because they need a lantern that is also a durable, sustainable solar lantern, but they are not buying it as per the requirement of your, or as per the expectation of your company. So where is the problem? This may be a potential problem identification, and you may consider this as an example. If you are considering this as a research problem, you are going to write research objectives of that particular research problem. Research objectives act as the foundation of rural marketing research. They specify what exactly needs to be studied, ensuring that the research stay focused and relevant. For example, objectives could be identifying rural consumers' preference, measuring brand awareness, testing distribution effectiveness, or analyzing price sensitivity. These are few examples. So, what is the requirement of deciding the objectives of your research problem? So that your research can take a definite route to be conducted by you. Suppose the research problem is your product is not adopted by the villagers or by the village buyers, because they want a durable product, but your solar lantern is not that much adapted by this particular zone people or particular rural belt people. So you need to, if you have identified the research problem, then you are going to identify or write the exact research objectives. For that particular problem, you may identify that they are not aware of the brand of solar lantern you are supplying them. They are not brand aware, or they are not product features. They don't know the exact product features. They are not that educated about the features of your product. That may be the cause. That is the reason they are not buying it. If they know the details of your product, then they may get the need of buying it. So research objectives will address the exact thing you are going to study for the problem you have identified on the first step. It may be for your product, why the people are not buying it. You may write down the objectives for low brand awareness, or the product is not able to reach to their households, that is due to the poor infrastructure, or they are price sensitive towards your product. Your price of your product is more than the price they are expecting. These may be considered as the objective of the research problem of your research. After deciding the research objective, you are going to decide what type of research you are going to design for this. Once the problem is identified, the next step is preparing the research design. It is like a blueprint. In rural research, exploratory study may be done through group discussion in hats and melas, while descriptive survey can capture the consumption habits. Using both qualitative and quantitative tools ensure accurate heights. There are many types of research design. The basic types are exploratory studies, where you have no idea or no clue why your product is not getting adopted. Absolutely no clue you at your end, being a marketer of your product. You don't know why these people are not accepting your product. So what you are going to do? You have to meet with these buyers in melas and hearts. You have to take the feedback. You need to ask them question about your product. They are going to answer you back. So this kind of survey or this kind of research design is known as exploratory study, where you are where you are going to receive some feedback from the buyers, and you are going to reach at a point, these are the factors why these people are not buying your product. Another kind of research design is descriptive survey. That is a survey mode where you can capture the consumption habits of the buyer by asking them questions. Using both qualitative and quantitative tools will guide you or ensure you accurate result for your research. Quantitative tools where you are going to apply the statistical tools for your research data, and qualitative where you are getting all the description of your survey. So these are the few research design you can adopt as per the requirement of your survey. After designing the research process, you are going to do the data collection. There are two types of sources where you are going to take the data. First one is primary survey, primary sources. Those include surveys, interviews, focus groups. Those who are using your product, they will give you the feedback about the product, second sources did not do all about that particular problem. Let it be you are going to let it be census or government reports or NGOs or published studies. Those who have published the reports on your research problem. Let's say you are researching about the solar lantern, and due to the why the solar lantern of your company is not having response or good response in a particular zone. So solar, there are many research or many data available on the uses of solar lantern in that particular zone. So when you are collecting data from a published source, those work has been done before on that particular research problem, and it has been published. Then, and you are taking the data from this published source. That source of collecting data is known as secondary sources of data collection. But while doing this data collection, you have to face with the challenges like literacy rate, accessibility, cultural sensitivity, because your respondent is a rural buyer who is not that literate, who is not that brand aware. He doesn't have the information about the product. You may not reach him at a particular time. So many challenges are there. So data collection in rural research is often challenging because it and time consuming also. So you need to be very careful while taking the data from the primary sources as well as secondary sources. Marketer must adapt communication to local language and culture while taking the feedback of the local buyers. You have collected the data. Data are the simple responses or feedback to the questions you are asking to the local buyers or rural buyers. Then you are going to do the data analysis and interpretation of the data analysis. After data collection, analysis helps make sense of this information. This includes identifying the patterns in responses, comparing product preferences, or measuring the brand recall. Whatever question you have asked to the respondents or to the local buyer, now you are going to analyze to understand what is their preference, what is their choices, and how what are the level of understanding about the product, and how why they are not adapting this product. You can get all the result by doing the data analysis of the received feedback. After analyzing the data, you are going to interpret the data, and you are, after interpretation, you got the pattern of buying decision. Then you are going to write the report on this, or you are going to do the decision making. The final step in preparing a research report and presenting findings in an understandable manner is report writing. Rural marketing managers need actionable insight like whether to use small pack sizes, which channels to use, or what festivals to target. Once they are finished with rural market research and they have now come with a solution and they have taken a decision where to introduce their product, in what size they want to introduce their product, because now they have understood the exact preference of the rural buyers. The report presents what? Research reports present simple findings, findings of customer requirement, preferences, and choices. And it also helps the marketer in doing future rural marketing strategies. And it helps the marketer in making decision on product size, product price, and product packaging, and place of promotion. So this is the entire process of market research. Starts with problem or need identification and ends with report writing or decision making. Let's understand what is the difference in urban and rural market research. So these 6 points denote to the difference between urban and rural market research. The first one is accessibility. Rural areas harder to reach due to poor infrastructure. Urban areas are easier with better connectivity. This is clear to everyone. The second point is literacy and awareness. Rural consumers often less literate, less exposed to media, while the urban consumers are more educated and more media aware, more brand aware. The third point is communication. Rural research relies on personal contact, local language, local influencer, whereas the urban research uses modern surveys and digital tools. Some sample selection is again the difference that makes the larger difference between urban and rural market research. It is difficult in rural belt to collect the samples due to scattered population, while it is easier in urban sector because it is they are you can get the proper sample size from a particular location. The fifth one is response patterns. Rural respondents are cautious, influenced by social norms, whereas the urban respondents are more individualistic and open minded while answering your questions. The sixth one is cost and time. Rural research is more time consuming and costly compared to urban researches. So, these are the differences between rural research and urban research. Let's understand what is the qualitative research for rural marketing research. Qualitative research is about understanding the underlying causes and motivation for rural consumers to buy the product. It will give you an idea, or it will give you the factors about the buying behavior of rural consumers. It doesn't focus on numbers but on depth. Why consumers behave in a certain way, how they perceive product, and what influences their decision. You can get the answer through qualitative research method. In rural markets where culture and tradition strongly shape behavior, qualitative research is particularly valuable. You will understand their feeling, their opinions, their feedback through qualitative research in rural marketing research approach. It explores consumer motivation and attitudes, focus majorly on why and how rather than how many. It provides in-depth insights into rural consumer. It uses small and focused samples. What are the key features of qualitative research? It is flexible, exploratory in nature, unstructured or semi-structured techniques are applied, relies on verbal, visual and experiential data, useful for new product ideas, advertising and packaging. So, unlike quantitative research, qualitative methods are flexible and exploratory. That means even if you don't have any idea what will be the outcome of this research, but you can do this research to get some idea about the customer preferences in your rural belt. They often uses open-ended question where the customer will give you the opinion or feedback, group discussion or visual tools to get the feedback from them. This helps marketer test new concept like packing decision or packaging decision, slogans, or even product demonstration to see how rural consumers react to those. Let's understand what are the common qualitative methods. Common qualitative methods are focus group discussion, in-depth interviews, participant observation, projective techniques like role play, sentence completion, and storytelling. The most widely used techniques are focus groups or interviews. For rural setting, if you have a focus group, those who are particularly using your product and they are influencers of that particular belt, if you are deciding them as a focus group, you will get the right feedback of your product. For rural settings, projective methods like storytelling or role play are also effective while doing the research process. Observing consumer interaction at hearts, melas, and local shops can also help you to do the research because you are directly observing the consumer behavior at the buying and selling process. What is the application in rural market? In rural marketing, qualitative research helps companies to adapt strategies to local customs. For example, it reveals why villagers trust certain brands, how families decide purchase collectively, or why certain price points matter. It also helps to evaluate which media channels or radio work best for the brand awareness. So, if you're doing qualitative research, it will help you to understand cultural and social influences. It will help to identify product users habits, judging perception about brand, loyalty, and price, testing communication channels like which channel is more adopted by the rural people, and you can introduce your product through those channels. What are the advantages and limitation of this qualitative research in rural marketing research? Qualitative research are rich insights into consumer psychology. By doing a qualitative research, you can understand the depth of consumer psychology. It helps to generate ideas for strategies flexible and adaptive to rural setting, but it has some limitations also. Small sample size, as we understand, to get a proper sample in rural belt is not that easy. So this is the first limitation. It is time consuming and costly, and sometime while doing the decision on that feedback, subjectivity in interpretation is the limitation. You may interpret in a correct way or you may interpret in a wrong way also. So let's understand what are the techniques of rural marketing research. These are the three techniques: desk research, survey research, and PRA, participatory rural appraisal. What is desk research? It is also known as secondary research. It involves using information that is already available instead of collecting fresh data. Whatever information is already available, you are going to analyze that to do the market research before introducing your product or before deciding any marketing strategy for your product. It's a low cost and time efficient method that helps researchers to understand the background of rural markets. Before conducting field surveys, this research gives a foundation to design better research tool because you are through this process you are analyzing whatever information about this product has been collected, and you are analyzing those information. It is also known as secondary research. What are the sources of desk research? Government publication like census, NABARD, and NSS or reports, NGO and development agency reports like livelihood, health, and education, industry sources like all the CIA method, then FICCI method, sources are there, company records, sales data, distributor feedback, and academic research like case studies and journal articles. You can gather this to do the analysis of information because they have the published data about the particular research. What is the importance and limitation of this type of desk research? Desk research identifies market size and trends. It helps segmenting and targeting rural consumer, provides inputs for future field service. But there are many limitations like data may be outdated because it was published long back, or you are taking the help of data that is not valid on the day you are requiring it. Reliability can vary across the sources, lacks insight into attitude and motivation of the consumers. These are the limitations. Desk versus survey research. Desk research uses already published data or secondary data, but survey generates primary data on a specific product at a specific locality or rural market. Desk research provides background for survey research, and it helps the survey research to take a definite route. And what are the survey methods? Communication or doing or taking feedback through interview method, either in a written way or a face-to-face interview, or else you can observe the people while they are buying at the local hats and melas. This research provides the starting point where the survey method will give you the primary responses of the consumers. Survey of experienced individuals. If you are planning to take the feedback of experienced individuals, those who are regularly using your product, that can also help you because data gathered from experts like executives, sales managers, salespeople, channel members, and direct consumers. What is the purpose of doing this kind of survey? To capture the awareness, attitude, behavior, and consumption behavior of the product. It relies on face to face interaction, and success of this kind of survey depends on freedom and response, expertise and communication ability of the respondent. If you have chosen a respondent who is using this product since long, but he is not able to answer you back in a correct method, then you may not get the success for your research. Next come the focus group discussion. It involves 6 to 10 targeted respondent. It's a free flowing method. No question answer asked, nothing is predetermined. They just discuss with each other about the product, but there is a moderator to moderate the session. Conversation recorded for analysis. The purpose of doing focus group discussion is to understand opinions, experience, and viewpoints. It requires a well trained moderator to keep the discussion focused. This way, also, you are going to receive the feedback of your product, or you can receive the innovative things they are looking for or the exact requirement of the consumers, because there is no fixed questions for them. They will only discuss about the product in a free flow method. Next is observation method. This is useful when respondents are unable or unwilling to give their accurate information. You can do this method in two ways. One is manual, another is mechanical. Manual is done through trained observer. Mechanical is through cameras or devices that monitors the consumer's buying behavior. Observation avoids biases that may arise from direct questioning. By watching the actual buying behavior, like checking packaging appeal, or influence of the companies, marketers gain authentic insights into the rural consumer actions. Researcher interacts with respondents in their home and work environment. That's called live observation. It captures non-verbal cues, gives the true picture than words. When you're observing a consumer buying your product on that particular place or on that particular exchange heart or mailers, you can get the true picture than the words he is giving you in term of feedback. Since a slice of life observation is immersive and contextual, by blending into respondent's environment, researcher can watch the true picture, the true behavior of the consumer while doing the transaction or while buying the product. The next method is participatory rural appraisal, that is PRA method, extensively used in social or rural research. It is actively involving rural consumers and respondent. What is the purpose of doing PRA is to build rapport with the villages, collect authentic and community driven data, encourage participation for deeper insight. PRA is a participatory research where rural people are not passive respondents but active participants. It helps researchers to understand local issues, resources, and preferences by involving the community directly in discussion and exercise. So, this is the easier one. If you are directly communicating with the participants, those who are your local buyers, and collecting data or feedback from them. What is the process of PRA? It's a 2-day process. Day 1, you are going and building the rapport, interact with the community. Day 2, you are collecting the detailed data. Team-based approach is also there, local team plus outsiders. You can make a group of local team and outsiders to take and engage them in discussion about the product or about the marketing strategies, and then and there you can receive the feedback of this group. They must speak in local language. That is critical factor here. You cannot use a language of your choice. You have to speak for the language they understand. It balances the timeliness, accuracy, relevance, and quality. PRA is not about precise measurements but about gathering relevant data. The first day focuses on trust building, the second day, collect the data. Local participation in local language is a must. Data reliability in PRA. Data is mainly qualitative in PRA method and it is limited for statistical analysis. To ensure the validity, you can do the stratified sampling. What is stratified sampling? To divide the population by geography or by wealth as per your requirement. You have to create the stratas for the sample collection. You can take a common characteristics like as per the location. So from you can gather the people or the local buyer of that particular location, and you can name it that they are stratified on geographical distribution or geographical location. Then you are going to take the feedback of that particular location by particular location for consumers. Then the next step is to use multiple methods or sources for cross-checking. Since PRA data is mostly qualitative, it may not always be statistically valid. Researchers use stratification and triangulation to improve the reliability, ensuring that findings reflect diverse perspectives and are cross-verified. See, it is easy. If you are dividing your population on a common characteristics, you can get the feedback in more systematic way. But again, you have to validate it through cross verification. Rural marketing research for marketing gain. How marketers are gaining out of it. Rural markets are having high potential of buying behavior and growing focus for the marketers. Marketers need to reach them because it is having high potential for the product, or they are more in number, they have more purchasing power, so marketers cannot avoid them. Need better tools, methodologies, and execution strategies. So marketers need to do research to understand how to execute their marketing strategies. Rural and urban, they have different perception about products because they are differently aware about the product through different exposures. Marketer must adopt strategies for rural setting because they are different from rural urban settings. Innovative research tools in rural markets. There are many innovative research tools. We discussed about exploratory, descriptive, we discussed about PRA, we discussed about survey methods, and their simple primary sources of data collection, secondary sources of data collection. But beyond that, many innovative research tools are also available, like games. You can encourage the rural buyers to participate in group games and replace 5 to 10 point scales with pictorial 3-point scales. During the game, you can show them pictures, real pictures about your product, and they will answer you back. Another method in new innovative research tool is TAT, thematic appreciation test. What is that? Where they will feel or they will complete the sentences, or you may show them the pictures or different things to them. They will narrate a story on that. Through this, the marketers aim to collect their inner feeling, inner perception about something, about some related products or related stories. So, and this can serve you as the real-time feedback of the rural consumer about your product or some related product, and it will help you to decide or to decide any marketing strategy or to design your marketing activities. Cartoons and caricatures are more effective than photographs and paintings. You can also take the help of this. Encourage multi-sensory and participatory methods to touch and feel method, to use and get the feedback method. There are many new technologies or innovative research tools available for rural marketing research. Role of participants or respondents in this process. Participants' observation helps researcher to gain insights that survey may miss. Living and engaging with villages gives a deeper understanding of cultural meaning and buying behavior, which is crucial for the marketers to consider for their effective marketing strategies. Because we know cultural aspect or culture aspect is an important decision factor for the rural buyers. So if you are participating or you are living with the villagers or you are spending your time with the village buyers, you can better understand their cultural meaning, their buying behavior, and their effective marketing, and you can design your effective marketing strategies. From data delivery to predicting behavior. Before 1980s, research is only about data delivery. Competition pushed focus to predicting consumer behavior. Earlier, research was limited to providing data. Now, marketers demand actionable insights to predict behavior and cross-category competition. Understanding evolving consumer needs, preferences, and aspiration and competition as well, the marketer can decides its rural marketing strategies. Let's understand on one example of HUL. HUL consumer windows, two consumer windows are applied by HUL company. One is traditional market research, another is direct consumer contact via website. Daily, 9 managers connect with groups in 20 locations. Directly, they are touching or they are connecting, they are taking the feedback of rural buyers in 20 locations on a regular basis. For example, Lifebuoy repositioning, shift from male-only product to family soap. They have shifted their advertising the product. Previously, it was advertised as a male-used product. Now it is being advertised as a family soap. How they did it? They understood the need of this by doing a market research where they got the feedback and that Lifebuoy people are considering this soap as a family soap. So they again reposition that product in a different advertisement where the message for the society is Lifebuoy is a family soap. This is the way HUL is doing research on a regular basis by engaging his managers with groups in that particular location or village on a regular basis. Emerging issues and future implication, rural marketing research must evolve with structural challenges in agriculture and society. The future farmer will be more scientific, requiring marketers to engage in relationship rather than transaction. You need to build a relationship of trust to sell your product. What is the role of researcher in rural market? In rural marketing, the researcher is not just a data collector. He is bridging the gap between rural consumer and the company, and he is understanding the need of the consumer better than the company. He is building the trust and rapport. Trust is central to rural marketing research. Villagers are cautious with outsiders, so researcher is the primary person who is getting connected with the villages on behalf of the company. So he has to build the trust and rapport. Adapting methods to rural context, use simple and visual tools. Pictures are more effective in these cases. You have to observe their behavior than questioning them quite often. So you need to observe their buying behavior. You can also apply the participatory method. So by your own thinking process also, you can innovate the method of research in rural context. Balancing objectivity and participation, a rural researcher often plays a dual role. On one hand, they join activities to understand behavior authentically. On the other hand, they must remain objective when analyzing the data. So striking the balance between the process of data collection on the field and analyzing the data is the primary responsibility of the researcher. What are the ethical issues? Ethics are crucial in rural marketing research. Villagers should not feel exploited. Villagers should feel the trust while sharing their feedback. So researchers need to take care of this. What are the problems in conducting marketing research? Rural marketing research is critical for companies to understand consumer needs because we have understood the limitation and the challenges of this. However, unlike urban areas, rural research faces multiple challenges such as poor infrastructure, cultural barriers, and communication issues due to poor infrastructure, low literacy rate, social cultural differences, and many more. Geographic and infrastructure barriers. These barriers are also equally uh, having the hurdle for the rural market research. Villages are scattered and remote. You are not getting all the people at the same place. They are scattered and remote. Poor roads condition, transportation condition can increase your cost and time. Lack of reliable communication. Internet and telephone are not that widely accepted by them. Difficulty in understanding their language. Difficulty in understanding their diversity in their terms of their preferences, in terms of their needs and aspiration. So one of the biggest challenges is physical access. Villages are widely scattered, many lack proper transportation and communication facilities. Researchers spend more resource in travel, more cost in travel, but that delays your data collection process. These are the barriers. What are the social and cultural barriers? Social structure in villages are rigid, watertight compartment. Respondents may hesitate to share opinions with outsiders about the product or about the marketing strategy, especially on sensitive issues. Gender and caste also save the shape who speaks during the surveys. If the women is taking the decision of groceries or a live show, but during the process of marketing research, the male is allowed to give the feedback. Building rapport and involving a local influencer is also crucial on part of the marketer because they are not regularly communicating with this rural buyers. They are just communicating with them for a research purpose. So that may be a vital challenge while doing this. So social and cultural barriers are also there. Literacy and communication issues. As we all know, low literacy rate due to low literacy rate, the consumer of rural belt are not that aware of the consumer product or brand awareness, not having that proper brand and product awareness. So it is difficult to understand the questionnaires. If you are having a standard and formatted question, structured questionnaire, they may not understand your language, or they may not understand the question you are asking them. Lack of familiarity with scales and technical terms. They are not familiar with the scales you have applied in your questionnaire, and they may take consider this is consider it as unsafe or not the area, not the platform where they can share their viewpoints. Preferences for visual tools and local language is always there. If you're showing them a picture or telling them a story or engaging them in a game, they can only be there. They can open up and share their feedbacks. And for this kind of research, local language is a must. You need to communicate with them in their local language as per their understanding. And the biggest challenge is misinterpretation of questions. If you are asking something, they are understanding in a different way and they are answering you back in a different pattern. So entire research will go wrong if you are not taking care of this barriers. Like the first barrier is geographic and infrastructure barrier. The second barrier is social and cultural barrier. And the third barrier is literacy and communication issues. After doing all those things and research you have done, you have collected the data, you have analyzed the data, you have done some interpretation of the data, but the major challenge of this is how to get the reliable data or data reliability and research cost. Accuracy of rural research is often questioned. How accurate is your research? Because we understand the challenges and limitations. These people are not aware of each product, each brand, and they are also not very informed about their particular need. If they are not very confident on their own need, how they are going to answer you the questions? On how they are going to give the feedback of your requirements. So respondents may give socially desirable answer. If you are asking them some undesirable questions, they may avoid it. If you are asking a lady about the soap she is using for her own purpose, she may not answer it. So the data reliability is the biggest challenge here. The risk of bias due to influence of opinion leaders. This is equally important because in previous unit we understood local influencers have control on the buying behavior of the local buyers. They may give you answers as per the influence, as per the thought process of the local buyers or opinion leaders. Cost of field work is higher due to time, travel, and manpower because you are literally going to the village to ask the questions or to do the research. So, cost of field work is usually higher, and it also consumes more time. And manpower issues will be always there because you will not get the manpower to do the research. The last one is the limited scope of statistical analysis because you are collecting the feedback about your company's product or marketing strategies or initiative. So all data you are collecting will be in a qualitative format. So you won't be able to apply the statistical analysis. Let's say small statistical analysis is percentage analysis. But you have collected all text format or feedback format from the consumer rural buyers. So how you are going to apply this? So limited scope for statistical analysis due to small samples. Accuracy of rural research is often questioned. Respondents may not answer truthfully or their answers may be influenced by the local leaders. And as we discussed, the high cost of reaching scattered population makes rural studies expensive and resource heavy. So the major challenge of this marketing research in rural belt is data reliability and research cost. So let's summarize the entire process. We understand the importance of doing or conducting marketing research in rural belt because rural belt are untapped potential for the companies to sell their product. But equally, there are many challenges due to their geographic isolation and poor infrastructure. People are scattered. That is the first challenge of doing or conducting a market research. They are cultural resistance. They are having strong cultural resistance. If the product is not linking or not adapting their culture, they will not buy it. And they also obey their social hierarchy. Literacy rate, communication barriers are openly available or clearly visible because they're not informed about the product, they're not having understanding to accept the new product, and high cost and low reliability of data. We just discussed about the reliability of the data because many challenges are also associated with it. The respondent or the rural buyer who is answering your question, he may not answer you in a correct way, in an authentic way, so that there is a low reliability in the collected data. There is usually high cost in doing this kind of research because it is time consuming and it is usually incurring high cost due to poor infrastructure, and your company people cannot reach each and every one of the villages who is buying your product. So this is equally and one problem of doing market research, that is high cost and low reliability of the data. The need for adaptive and innovative methods. Every marketer or company has to think of an adaptive and innovative methods because objective is clear to understand consumer buying decision process of a rural belt. This is the objective of doing market research. So if your company is not doing or thinking on something new or innovative method, it is only applying the existing methods. It is equally not that you cannot be confident about the results. The result may not be that perfect if you are not innovating any new methods to reach to the rural consumers. To sum up, rural research faces issues at every level because the respondent itself is not aware. So today you can also take an example. You are a respondent or you are a consumer or of restaurant dining. In urban sector, you are going and dining at your favorite restaurant. At the time of billing, the restaurant owner is giving you a feedback form. You are by yourself reading the question, understanding the question, then answering the question because you are an informed customer of urban sector. You understand how to answer these questions. You know what the company is trying to get from you in real terms of your feedback. But if tomorrow you are doing the same research with the villages or the village or rural buyers for your company's product, do you expect they understand what you are trying to ask them or what you are aiming to get the feedback from you? So you need to think of innovative way. You can change the questions into simpler form. Simply, you can ask them question in their local language. How do they perceive or what is their perception about your product? You can use the local language. You can change the question to simple questions so that you can get the real feedback of the customers. You can, the more accurate custom feedback you are getting from the customers, the more accurate you can get the result of your market research, because market research itself is a costly affair, it's a time taking affair, and it requires inputs from you, from your companies in terms of financial assistance, in terms of manpower, in terms of physical efforts, everything. So you need to be very critical or very analytical while doing the marketing research. But we cannot avoid that marketing research is not required for the company. Yes, it is required for the company because you don't want to fail after selling your product in a particular village. So if you're doing marketing research, you will get the right feedback before introducing your product to the market, before doing the marketing strategy for that particular rural belt, you will get you will get better result if you are conducting a marketing research. With this, let's end this subject because we understood marketing research and all. Thank you. None.